There's one style and time frame I enjoy more than the overpromised vision of the 1950s future. It's the gritty, cigarette, smoke-filled charm of 1940s film noir. Meet Santino Featherland, a hard-boiled rooster with a rough past and enough sarcasm to choke a rhino in a trench coat. Once part of a legendary detective team, now on leave with only 121 days until retirement. What could possibly go wrong? The story takes place in Clawville, a city teeming with exotic characters soaked in crime, corruption, mystery, and the ever-present patter of rain on dimly lit streets. It definitely sells the classic noir feel it's going for. At the heart of this feathery fiasco are Sonny and Marty, once Clawville's finest detective duo, now more like a squawking argument in a trench coat. Grudges and few too many bad decisions have turned them from legends into a cautionary tale with badges. But when a glamorous nightclub singer starts receiving cryptic death threats, the city's most dysfunctional ex-partners are forced back to the coop for one last case. It's either solve the mystery or strangle each other with their own neckties, whichever comes first. The game weaves together the slow burn tension of detective noir with the mechanics of point-and-click adventures and visual novels. As you prowl the shadowy streets, you'll collect clues, question shady characters, and piece together the truth from a city that's long since forgotten what truth looks like. You come across a vast collection of minigames, excellently voice-acted dialogue, and wed together answers to find the truth. The first in a series by the Wild Gentleman. Welcome to Chicken Police. Paint it red. We arrive at Sonny's apartment, the kind of place where the wallpaper's peeling, the floorboards creak like they're holding grudges, and the smell of regret comes free with the rent. Inside, a doe-eyed dame named Deborah is waiting. Trouble clung to her like smoke in a back alley.
Exactly.
She says she's here on behalf of her employer, but you've seen enough of these cases to know when trouble walks through the door, it rarely knocks. She wasn't here for pleasantries. Her employer sent her, desperate and out of options. Seems the lady's been getting death threats. First it was letters, handwritten venom sealed with fear. Then the messages got bolder, louder. Spray paint on the wall, angry, permanent. This is where you start playing detective. Not just wearing a trench coat, but earning it. The game doesn't hand you answers, see? It sizes you up, judges you. You're ranked on how you handle the heat and interrogation. Whether you corner the truth or let it slip through your fingers like gin on a rainy night. You even get ranked for your efforts, like school but with more dramatic lighting. I'm not entirely sure what happens if you fail. Maybe you lose valuable intel, maybe everyone just thinks you're an idiot in a trench coat, or maybe the game gives you a participation ribbon and tells you to try again, champ. Next is the map, your portrait to every shady dive, smoky office, and suspicious jazz bar in town. New locations pop up as you dig deeper, connect the dots, or just annoy the right people enough. It's like Yelp, if every place served existential dread and cold coffee. This leads us to the opening credits, into which I'll just let play out.
It was New Year's Eve, and I was driving, half drunk, risking my whole life's work. But still, it didn't feel any different. Every day was the same. And the 121 days I had left till my retirement seemed like an eternity. When I look out the window of the hotel room I call home, I see the same thing every day. A woman in a red nightgown dances slowly in circles to smooth music. The 9 o'clock show, with a glass of cheap bourbon and the red gown with the silent music. In the meantime, the proud city of Clawville is slowly eating itself alive. And we're still here, with nothing left to lose but our sanity, while others, the smart ones, had already gone. Molly. Does her name really upset me this much? All those years of solitude, and I still jump without question every time I hear it. And then there's Marty, my ex-partner, who hates me. But I know I have to speak with him, no matter what. Why do I feel like the past is watching me on this goddamn night?
You arrive at the Clawville police station. Out front you run into Phyllis and Royce, sarcastic and prickly. They don't give you much, just enough to remind you this town runs on caffeine, cynicism, and copious amounts of indifference. Inside the station's no better. It's crawling with the usual suspects. tired beat cops, jittery rookies. Luckily, the boss is not in it. You're only here for your old partner. He's at the shooting range, presumably blowing holes into paper bad guys and working through some very complicated feelings. Last time you worked together, he shot you. New Year's Eve, a case gone sideways, and one misplaced bullet to the drumstick. Water under the bridge? Not exactly. But Marty's always had a soft spot for bad decisions. Takes about 5 seconds and one sarcastic jab before he agrees to join the investigation. He's the Joker to your deadpan, the chaos to your careful. And just like that, the band's back together. Just as you're getting reacquainted, in stomps the big boss, Blood Boil. That's not a nickname, he's a bloodhound. And he's about as warm as a tax audit. You smooth talk him into letting Marty take a coffee break, which is code for leaving work to chase danger. He grumbles, but lets you go. Next stop, Hop Dog. A greasy spoon on the edge of town that smells like bad decisions and better hot dogs. Out front, a fly guy, literally. Strums a double-neck acoustic and doesn't say a word, just vibes. Existential, six-legged vibes. Inside, Zip runs the joint. He's got the kind of face that's seen too much and a mouth that won't shut up unless it's fed gossip. He knows everyone and everything in Clawville. Today you're buying info, names like Natasha and Ibn Wessler, heavy hitters with secrets worth digging into. This leads us to our next cutscene.
Midnight had passed, and the intoxicated madness kicked in. We could only crawl along Shalva District's main streets toward downtown. The city's heart beat differently. Ancient buildings were defaced by neon signs and billboards, like half-drunk lovers on a fine leather sofa. Great old houses neighbored by garish modern blocks. A place that makes the head hurt. The Tsar's huge neon sign was visible for miles. A blazing red sign advertised tonight's main attraction, the amazing Natasha. Cops were never welcomed at places like this. I hoped we were too late for the show. We had to be inconspicuous, but it was never easy with this bird mountain by my side.
Outside the club, the street's alive. Neon lights, jazz in the air, and the scent of expensive perfume trying to cover up cheaper sins. Getting in? That's another story.
Straight from the dog-eared
This club's tougher to crack than a walnut and a steel vise. They don't like cops. And the bouncer? A giant ram with muscles for days and patience for none. Makes that crystal clear. You flash your badge, he flashes his horns. Luckily, your good friend Lewis is hanging outside, and he's got connections, and enough pull to make the ram reconsider. A few words later, and the velvet rope parts like the Red Sea.
They're on the list, okay?
Inside the club is full of fancy dress characters of all kinds, including an old acquaintance, Philmar. He's a private dick, and also kind of the same.
Detective Marlowe.
You stop by the bar where Sonny cracks a joke about the bartender calling him Bojack. If you get that one, we would be good friends. Across the bar is Ibn Wessler. He runs this town. Clubs, rackets, politics, you name it, he's got his paws in it. Getting near him without a bullet or a bribe is a long shot. You get your shot to question Wessler. He plays it cool. Too cool. Says he's too busy for petty threats, like being the most powerful mob boss in town somehow makes him bulletproof. Every time you circle back to the danger Natasha's in, he changes the subject, like a magician with blood on his sleeves. Still, you earn another score for your questioning. Seems the game likes it when you poke the bear without getting mauled. Then comes the main event. Lights down, spotlight on, and Natasha takes the stage. It's more than a song, it's a message. You just don't know who it's for yet. After the performance, she requests a private meeting. Just you, no Marty, no noise. The real case is about to begin, and something tells you it's gonna get messy. The private meeting's all low lights and loaded glances. Natasha talks, but not much. She's a pro. Says just enough to keep you curious, just little enough to keep you guessing. The one thing she does let slip, she knew your ex. And just like that, the case got personal. Turns out dropping your name wasn't random, it was strategy.
Why didn't you?
Emotional blackmail and heels. Before she sends you off, she mentions a weekend house. Quiet place.
But I like
Says there's something you need to see. No details, no hints, just a suggestion laced with mystery and a whole lot of silk. On your way out, Fillmore corners you. Classic move.
What is it?
Says he's got a lead, something juicy. Real cloak and dagger stuff. But it's too messy for him to touch. Translation? Definitely worth your time. With that, you're off to Natasha's weekend house, if you can call a house with broken windows and fresh graffiti a weekend getaway.
Well, if there's one thing I'd learned during 20 years of detective work, It's that if someone wants to meet you at a remote location at night, you should bring an army for backup. One time, me and Marty were stupid enough to underestimate a situation like that, and we never really recovered. And yet, here we were again, about to step alone into something hauntingly familiar. Only one tactic remained, as the old dogs say. Balls to the wall.
The same red paint from the threats is smeared across the walls like a warning. And on the curb, a single yellow shoe. Small, lowly, and very out of place. Inside, the silence hits harder than a punch to the gut. You step through the doorway, and there she is, Deborah, the same wide-eyed fawn who walked into your office asking for help. Now she's lying face down on the hardwood, lifeless. The same word from the house sprayed across her back like a sick signature. Whatever it was, it's not a threat anymore. It's a statement. After fiddling around, you discover a safe within the fireplace. This part took me a long while to figure out what the code was. Inside the safe is a small corner of a painting with an even smaller squiggle on it. We head back to the apartment to regroup.
We had no choice but to continue the investigation where it started. In that shady little apartment I called home. The only lead was the list Fillmore gave us, with all those imposing names on it. But what could it mean? And why did Natasha keep it secret from us? But most importantly, what did all this have to do with Deborah's death? The trail started to get cold, and so did the air outside. There was something unsettling in the black clouds, hiding all the stars. I prayed that they didn't bring an early snowfall. The night was already painful enough.
That's where the red web comes in, the next mechanic in this mess. You lay it all out, suspects, locations, clues, motives, like pinning down ghosts with a red string and a thumbtack. Suddenly it's not just a murder, it's a network. A puzzle made of blood, smoke, and whispered names. You call over Lewis again and show him the card you received. He mentions he also has one of those cards. It's to an exclusive club, a brothel, upscale, underground, and dripping in secrets.
It's a membership.
Only the richest, dirtiest, and most important scumbags in the city get through that door.
How exclusive.
This case just climbed another rung up the ladder. A very expensive, very dangerous ladder.
To Marty's delight, we were heading toward the most exclusive brothel in Clawville. The separatists and those opposing the monarchy hated the place, just like they hated everything that supported interracial relations and peaceful coexistence of all species. So the place wasn't just a brothel, it was a symbol. But just like a brothel is not a worthy symbol, Clawville failed to turn out the way it was intended.
The Sweltering Nile. Now that's a name that doesn't disappoint. Inside it's all velvet shadows, low lights, and creatures with more secrets than clothing. The air's thick with perfume, heat, and unspoken deals. One of the creatures, a fox, literally. She's struggling with her dress, says it won't zip. You oblige because you're a gentleman, and it'd be rude not to. Turns out zipping a dress is now a minigame. You gotta pull it at just the right speed. Too fast and you'll snag the fabric. Too slow and she starts asking if your hands always shake like that. The pictures on the wall are anything but subtle, and you need to remind Marty to pick his jaw up off the floor.
Fur. You swallowed so hard, the whole place shook.
At the front desk, Miss Diamond. Zebra, sharp tongue, sharper eyes. Marty's smitten. Guy's got a thing for stripes. She's unimpressed. Says we smell like trouble and cheap cologne. Fair. Still the card gets us in. Past the velvet rope, past the looks, straight to the top. We're here for Madame Zaves, Queen of the Nile, keeper of secrets, and maybe the missing piece.
Interesting pieces.
You get your chance to question Madame Zaves. She's calm, elegant, untouchable. But when you ask her who the card belongs to, she shuts the door, politely but firmly. I offer sanctuary, she says, not confessions. She's built this place to protect the girls she's saved. Discretion isn't just policy here, it's survival. And in her eyes, you're just another storm at the door. She leaves you momentarily and you investigate the room. Putting some certain clues together, you find a significant clock in a hidden room. Inside, it's cold, stark. No velvet, no music, no charm. Just shadows and silence. On the desk you find a book, which the page you've been asking around town about fits perfectly. She returns with Diamond. She set you up, knowing you put the pieces together. Smart. Diamond and Marty both get ready to throw lead, but you keep your cool for a bit, until...
Clucking...
Sonny, no!
think I was dreaming. But it wasn't the kind of dream you'd want to remember. Dark and painful. Then the suffocating smoke woke me. It wasn't fried eggs, that's for sure. Where was I? What happened? That treacherous crocodile. Then I saw Marty, who looked as horrible as I felt. Well, I've always wanted a romantic sea voyage.
You come to on a ship.
Damn it.
It's the kind that smells like rust, oil, and fire, because it's on fire.
Told you you could
You're tied up, Marty's tied up, and surprise, he's already complaining. The two of you trade insults like it's your last will and testament. Eventually you get him to shut up long enough to focus. Cue another minigame. Follow the rope, trace the knots, no time for mistakes. If you pull it off, you're free. And the only option left? Jump ship. You hit the water hard and crawl your way to the docks, coughing smoke, soaked in seawater and bad decisions. Waiting there like he's seen it all before is Captain Marsh. Familiar face, grumpy as ever. He doesn't ask why you're dripping wet or smell like burning rope. He just lights the cigar and says, "Isn't it a bit cold for a swim?" Yeah, you could say that. Sonny reveals he may have broke a few ribs, so it's off to Bubos Place. Bubo is an old acquaintance, part sawbones, part gossip column. He patches you up with his usual bedside charm, which is none. But then he drops a bomb. Says two goons were in earlier, real charmers, the kind who floss with fishing line. They mentioned killing a rat next. That can only mean one thing. Zip. Unless you move fast, he's about to be a whole lot quieter, permanently. You play the red web again, this time piecing together how Zevas is connected to Zip. Zip knows something or has something that can let out too much. You arrive at the Hop Dog. The place has been trashed and Zip is nowhere to be found. But Zip has left something he thought no one would discover. You head back to the station, but this time someone's hot on your tail and try to take you down. This brings up another minigame where you have to shoot the car up enough, not just the gunman. Can't stress that enough. And they spin out and you lose them. Turns out Zip is at the station. After some favors in the station, you get a chance to investigate him. Find out why he kept hold of the ID tag and how he knew to get out of Dodge before the goons found him. All he reveals is that it was a wristband, and it was left on a body he was told to get rid of. Someone Wessler killed. Your Red Web investigation reveals Zip kept the wristband for insurance. Belonged to a resident of the insane asylum. But why? You grab a quick nap and have a fever dream.
I slept like I used to sleep years ago. Like a miner or a soldier. Empty. Dead tired. Then I saw Tessa, my darling little daughter. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't recall her face. I reached out to her, but she just kept getting further and further away. Then I saw Molly. But she wasn't real, just the ghost of a memory. "I'm here," I cried, but all I heard was laughter. Not hers. "Who's there?" Suddenly, she appeared. Natasha. Just stood there laughing, but her eyes were cold. Then she said something. "Painted red, painted red, painted red." That was just a dream, Sonny. Nothing more. I looked at Marty and I saw the same thing in his eyes as he probably saw in mine. It's time to hit the brakes, to turn back, go home and forget about all of this. Of course, I stepped on the gas instead.
The asylum's as dark and depressing as advertised. Walls peeling, lights flickering, and hopes left at the door. The receptionist, a big fan of yours. Really big, especially around the neck. You smile, nod, try not to stare. Then it's on to the head doc, an old snake with voice like molasses and a handshake like cold marble.
You gentlemen.
He slithers through formalities and finally agrees to let you see the patient in question. The room's waiting, and if the walls could talk, you'd probably wish they wouldn't. Morning breaks, but there's no sunshine bright enough to wash away what you've seen. The pieces are on the table now, blood-stained, crooked, but finally fitting. I won't spoil the ending. Some truths you gotta earn. Maybe some folks weren't who they claimed to be. Maybe the lies ran deeper than you thought. And maybe, just maybe, the truth was on your side the whole time. But in Clawville, nothing's ever that simple. You want answers? Go play it yourself.
The sun was shining, and all the ducks were in a row. I felt ready. The pieces of the grand puzzle were laid out on the table. I just needed to piece them all together. A revealing glance or a careless word, and I'd have the answer. I knew we were in the right place. I knew it was nearly over.